The year is 2029. The United States has just completed 4 years under the second presidency of Donald J. Trump. The country is unrecognizable in some ways, eerily familiar in others. What has changed? What has remained the same? And what does the future hold? Tonight, on Curious Truth, we take a deep dive into the America of tomorrow. The political landscape. Donald Trump, after a dramatic return to power in 2025, wasted no time reshaping the government. The Department of Justice has been restructured, with loyalty to the president now a crucial factor for appointments. Critics say Trump has weaponized the legal system against his political enemies, while supporters argue he has dismantled the deep state once and for all. In Congress, the Republican Party has consolidated power, pushing through laws to strengthen executive authority. Term limits for bureaucrats, loyalty oaths for government officials, and even talk of constitutional amendments swirl through Washington, D.C. Meanwhile, the Democratic opposition has found itself splintered, some seeking to resist, others attempting to adapt to this new era. But the biggest change? The Supreme Court. With a new wave of conservative justices, landmark decisions on abortion, free speech, and gun rights have reshaped American life. The balance of power is shifting. The economy under Trump's second term is a tale of two Americas. On one side, Wall Street and big business thrive, fueled by massive tax cuts and sweeping deregulation. On the other, small businesses and middle-class workers struggle with the consequences of trade wars and inflation. Trump has doubled down on his America First economic policy. Tariffs on Chinese and European goods have skyrocketed. Some industries have benefited. American steel and manufacturing see a resurgence, but the cost of goods has risen sharply for everyday consumers. Inflation remains a persistent issue, and despite Trump's pressure on the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates, the housing market remains volatile. And then there's the national debt. With increased military spending and massive tax cuts, the deficit has reached record highs. The administration argues that economic growth will balance the books, but experts warn of an impending crisis. Will America's financial dominance hold? Or is it teetering on the edge of collapse? Immigration and border security. If there is one policy area where Trump has been uncompromising, it's immigration. The border wall is no longer just a wall, it's a full-fledged security zone, complete with surveillance drones and military patrols. Mass deportations have become a reality as ICE conducts nationwide sweeps, leading to legal battles and humanitarian concerns. Trump has also pushed for an end to birthright citizenship through executive action, though legal challenges continue to block its enforcement. Meanwhile, strict visa restrictions have reduced the number of foreign workers and students in the U.S. Supporters claim these policies have created more jobs for Americans. Critics argue they have weakened the economy and isolated the country internationally. Foreign policy and global relations. On the world stage, America has taken a more isolationist stance. The United States has withdrawn further from NATO, leading some European allies to question their own security. Relations with China are at an all-time low, with a full-fledged technological Cold War underway. Trade restrictions and cyber warfare have escalated, making international business more difficult. Russia, on the other hand, has benefited. Trump's administration has eased sanctions and diplomatic relations have improved, though at the cost of U.S. influence in Eastern Europe. Meanwhile, tensions in the Middle East have flared, with an aggressive stance against Iran leading to skirmishes in the Persian Gulf. Could this be the start of another war? Culture and social policy. Socially, America has taken a hard turn to the right. The fight over woke culture has intensified, with the federal government banning DEI initiatives and restricting critical race theory in schools. Universities and corporations have been forced to abandon social justice programs or risk losing funding. The Supreme Court has revisited past rulings, leading to tighter abortion restrictions in several states. LGBTQ+ rights, particularly for transgender individuals, have been rolled back, with policies preventing gender-affirming care and restricting pronoun usage in schools and workplaces. Meanwhile, a new wave of media control has emerged. Trump has cracked down on what he calls fake news, leading to tighter regulations on social media companies. Alternative platforms have grown in popularity, but so has misinformation. The battle over truth itself has reached a new level. Law and order. Under the banner of law and order, Trump has expanded the role of federal law enforcement. Crime-ridden cities have seen the deployment of National Guard troops. Mass protests have been met with swift crackdowns. The Patriot Act has been expanded, granting the government more surveillance powers. Gun rights, on the other hand, have never been stronger. The Supreme Court has struck down several gun control measures, leading to open carry being legal in nearly every state. But with rising crime and civil unrest, some Americans wonder, has the Second Amendment helped or hurt? And so, as we stand on the edge of 2029, one question remains: what comes next? Will Trump's America continue to strengthen, or will the pushback create a new wave of political upheaval? Will America be more powerful or more divided than ever before? One thing is certain: history is being written, and the future remains as unpredictable as ever.